Welcome to Dodgers Daily. I'm Casey Porter. I'm so glad that you decided to tune in. Fans, we have a great show for you today. Very busy. Every team in the organization, up and down, all the affiliates, they were all playing last night. Of course, Los Angeles, they got beat by the Diamondbacks. Oklahoma City won. They were still in Las Vegas, and they had a big win last night. Tulsa almost got no hit. Them and Great Lakes both lost. And then to cap off the night, Rancho, they won behind Peter Hubeck and Yoel Ibarra. Two good pitching performances, some good offense. They won their game last night. So a little bit of a mixed bag. We're going to cover it all. So, hey, before we do, just a reminder, if you like this video and if you like this kind of content, go ahead and click that like button, leave a comment, tell all your friends about Dodgers Daily, and become a subscriber. And after you subscribe, click that notification bell. Turn on your notifications. That way, every time Dodgers Daily releases a new video, you'll be notified. Dodgers Daily can keep growing, and we can keep providing you content like this in the future, as we love to do. Okay, hey, the Los Angeles Dodgers, like we said, the only score that actually matters as far as on the scoreboard, you know, the Dodgers minor league system, winning is important, but development is too. But the one that you really want to win every day is the parent club, the Los Angeles Dodgers. They got beat last night. Okay, Clayton Kershaw was cruising along. He'd given up a couple of runs, and then he gave up the two in the sixth inning. The Dodgers had a 3-2 lead, gave up the 2 runs, and eventually got beat. So, okay, offensively, I'm going to say this. And, you know, the style of offense the Dodgers played last night, not my style. I was a little bit frustrated. I get frustrated with the Dodgers when the only way they score is through home runs. Now, I do understand that the #1 stat in baseball in terms of whether you win a game or not is the team that hits the most home runs. I'm not blind to all that. I just feel like when the Dodgers, when the only way they score is relying on home runs, and 2 out of the 3 runs last night were hit by home runs. Chris Taylor and James Outman both hit home runs, and then they scored a 3rd run. They did generate an early run, which was good, you know, as far as not hitting a home run there. But I just feel like, you know, I want the offense to be a little bit more dynamic. And as you look, the Dodgers did not score in the last 5 innings last night. And when you're boom or bust like that, hey, it's great when you're going well, but when you're not hitting home runs, you go long stretches of time where you don't score. We saw that in the playoffs last year, and the Dodgers stopped scoring last night, and largely because they weren't generating offense. They were just hitting home runs to score. And when that faucet shuts off, then you don't score again for the rest of the night. The other team gets the momentum, and they come back and win. That's kind of what we saw last night with the D-backs. And I'll say this about Arizona. I've had a chance to watch their AAA teams in the last couple of years. Hey, this is a different Arizona team. This is not the Arizona team of last year. Evan Longoria is playing well for them, and they have a bunch of good young players. They're fired up about, you know, what they're doing right now. Of course, they're only 500, but, you know, it's kind of what I've talked about with the youth movement with the Dodgers, the excitement that their young players have brought to their organization. You see a whole different energy level, a whole different excitement to the way the Diamondbacks are playing this year, and a lot of that's because they brought up these young rookies that are super hungry to play Major League Baseball. And like I said, they're a lot better team this year, as the Dodgers have already seen. So Arizona, I don't know if force probably isn't the right word. I don't know what their record's going to be. I'll just say that they're going to be a lot better this year in 2023. So the boomer bust offense, I'm not a huge fan of. Again, I know that the team that hits the most home runs usually wins, but I like to have offenses that can score in different ways, not just by hitting home runs. That's more dynamic. The Dodgers were not last night. Okay, Alex Vesia, he's had a couple of rough performances in a row. Yency Almonte gave up a couple of runs last night. So are you worried at all about the bullpen? You know, Evan Phillips continues to cruise, and the bullpen has been just absolutely fantastic, elite. So, hey, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the bullpen. Make it mature like we always do here at Dodgers Daily. We don't rip players. We have you know, just positive, good conversation about what we think, you know, not complaining, but solutions. You know, that's kind of the way that if you don't have a solution, then don't complain. That's kind of the way I always operated as far as my coaching staffs went. So, you know, hey, leave a comment. Let me know. Are you a little bit worried about the bullpen that you know, has been totally elite for so long? And, you know, so what do you think about that? And then the offense, do you agree with me? I mean, hey, maybe you don't agree with me. Maybe you like, you know, the boomer bust type offense. Do you agree with that? What do you think the offense should look like for the Dodgers? Can they win a World Series with the boomer bust type mentality? Leave a comment about that. Let me know what you think about Clayton Kershaw, the starting rotation, and all that. So again, the Dodgers fall last night to the Diamondbacks, and we're going to get into it, and we're going to talk all about it. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it, and let's talk Dodgers baseball. Clayton Kershaw got the start on the mound for the Dodgers, and I'll tell you what, he was cruising through 5 innings. He had only given up 2 runs, 1 in the first, single runs in the first and the third. Then he gave up a 2 spot in the 6th inning. That pretty much was going to be all that the D-backs were going to need, because the D-backs won 6-3. That gave them at the time a 4-3 lead. The Dodgers were winning 3-2 going into that 6th inning when the Diamondbacks scored that two runs. So last night, Kershaw threw 41 sliders, 12 curveballs, 37 four-seam fastballs, and he was around 90 to 92. Then he sprinkled in 1 sinker. He threw 58 strikes and 91 pitches. Like I said, he gave up the 4 earned runs in the 6 innings on 7 hits. He had 4 strikeouts and 2 walks. So, hey, the good thing about this, I know the Dodgers didn't win last night, but again, it's a marathon. You can't get too high, too low. In his last 3 outings, Clayton Kershaw has gone 6 innings in all of them, and that's because he's been very efficient with as far as getting his outs there. He tried a big curveball, but again, Kershaw last night, 6 innings, 4 runs, all earned, 58 strikes, 91 pitches, 7 hits, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks, and the Dodgers lost to the Diamondbacks. You are looking at James Outman's 2nd home run of the season, and probably the coolest thing about this is it is his first hit ever in the major leagues off of a left-handed pitcher, so that's cool. And then it was against Madison Bumgarner, the old San Francisco Giant, so it came against a former rival who's pitching for a current rival at this time. The first hit against a left-handed pitcher in the major leagues for James Outman, so that's very cool. It came off the bat 107.9 and went 416. Very happy feet. Okay, James Outman, boy, I'll tell you what, he is playing like Rookie of the Year. If he keeps playing like this, it'll be a slam dunk, because he's hitting .389. His OPS is over 1,300. He has 7 RBIs and 21 total bases. So James Outman, well, I'll tell you what, he took the Dodgers by storm last year. No doubt about it. He's been called Babe Ruth by some of his teammates. That's kind of a funny comment. When I heard that, I got a giggle out of that. But he is big. If you ever meet him, he is a junkie in the weight room. He just is always looking to improve his body and get bigger and stronger, more flexible, faster, that kind of thing. So he loves working out. So he is a big young man that is in great shape. James Outman taking advantage of every opportunity he's been given. I love that 2nd home run, first hit off a lefty in his major league career. Congratulations, James Outman, although the Dodgers did not win. And I know James, and I know he would trade the team win any day over individual accomplishments. But, hey, when you get a chance to perform in the major leagues, to try to win a job, and you do it, it's always exciting. So James Outman playing very well. In yesterday's episode, I mentioned that one of the big things about Chris Taylor's hit on Thursday night was the fact that, hey, it was with 2 strikes. It wasn't boom or bust. But one of the biggest parts of it was that it came on a fastball that was up in the zone. I didn't know the exact statistics. I just know he has that loop in his swing where he has that negative bat angle. And then sometimes he lifts and then the ball goes over his barrel. Hey, Joe Davis hammered that last night. Chris Taylor only had 5 hits. If you go back to my social medias or just go back to the game, he brought the stat out. Chris Taylor only had 5 hits on pitches that were up in the strike zone, fastballs that were high in the strike zone. So that was a big hit. That just kind of went to show you that Chris Taylor is locked in right now, and he's hitting very well. And then last night, he hit his 2nd home run of the season at 103.9 miles an hour. It went 416. Very happy feet. Taylor is just hitting 150, but I said it in spring training quite a bit, and baseball is a marathon. Hey, when you have guys like Chris Taylor that have a track record, you're not looking for statistics early on, because statistics can swing wildly when you don't have a whole lot of at bats. So he is just hitting 150. You're looking for signs. The fact that he caught up with a high fastball yesterday, hit a home run last night. Look at that pitch right there, center cut, and his timing was good on it, and he hit right through that baseball. So signs to me look like, and again, he has hits in his last 2 games and 3 out of his last 4. So it looks to me like Chris Taylor might be bouncing out of it. Who knows? It's baseball. One day you might be great. The next day, you're not. Just look at the organization itself. every affiliate, every team in the organization won their games on Thursday, and then they all lost except for Rancho yesterday. So it's one of those deals to who knows from one day to the next. But Chris Taylor's showing some signs that he might be ready to start, raising that batting average and getting in a groove. I'm not going to sugarcoat the LA game last night. It was kind of a dud in terms of just watching it. The Dodgers did have the lead going into the sixth inning, but I've said it a lot over, and I know the stats that if you hit more home runs, that's the number one stat going right now as far as the team that hits the most home runs is the team that is most likely to win. I understand all that, but I've said it several different times. The Dodgers scored 3 runs. 2 of them were on home runs. When the Dodgers, it just seems like to me, rely on the long ball and rely on the home runs, and that's the only way they score, and they're not dynamic in any other way. First of all, it's not as exciting to watch for me. I enjoy watching, the overall offensive things, trying to, get on, get over, get in, that kind of stuff. Not necessarily small ball, but just more of a dynamic offense. So last night, again, the Dodgers scored 3 runs. 2 of them were on home runs, Jamesoutman and Chris Taylor, then they scored the 3rd run. So I like a little bit more balance to it. So last night was a frustrating night for me from an offensive perspective. Clayton Kershaw, hey, I'll just tell you this. The Diamondbacks are going to be a good team. I don't know how many games they're going to win, but they have really good young players. So I'm more encouraged with Clayton Kershaw, although, he did take the loss last night and he gave up, the 4 runs in 6 innings. But I'm encouraged with him. His ERA now is 3.75 because, like I said, I've brought the topic up at Clayton Kershaw, how many innings he's going to throw, and the numbers I threw out there were between 100 and 125. Well, he's thrown 6 innings in his last 3 outings, so I think that's encouraging for him. And when you look at the Dodgers offense, like I said, they scored in, 1, 2, 3 different innings. That's it. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Then they didn't score after the 4th inning. So, and then they relied on the long ball. So last night offensively, I didn't enjoy watching the offense. I didn't think it was a good game offensively. I didn't think it was the type of offense, not just the results. I'm not a results-based guy. I'm a process-based guy, and that's what I'm talking about. What's the process to get the Dodgers to the type of offense that can score consistently every night? Last night was not the blueprint for me. They did not score after the 4th inning. They had all 3 runs scored by the 4th. So, it was a game that from a stylistic perspective, I didn't enjoy. I don't think it's the blueprint for the Dodgers and how they need to play offense to win a World Series this year. I think they need to spread the wealth a little bit better. They need to base hit a little bit better. They need to generate runs without home runs a little bit better. And that way, we saw this quite a bit last year where you score early, and especially in the playoffs, and then the last 4 or 5 innings you don't score at all. And I think that's the boom or bust that frustrates me. Of course, hey, who am I? I'm just a guy that's on a microphone talking. So, there's a lot of people that know a lot more about this than I do that are trying to fix all these, put these situations together. I won't say fix because, the Dodgers have been fantastic for so many years. But like I said, I would like to see more dynamic as far as their offense goes and being able to score more consistently in more different ways. Hey, Alex Vesia struggled the other day. Okay, so are we worried at all about our bullpen? If you look at Clayton Kershaw, he did give up the 4 runs, and then the 2 runs were scored in the 8th inning off the bullpen. So, hey, leave your thoughts. What do you think? Okay, intelligently, like we always do at Dodgers Daily. What do you think about the offense? Leave a comment. Is it dynamic enough for you? Do you like the boom or bust? Do you think that type of offense can win a World Series for the Dodgers? And then what do you think about the bullpen? What do you think about Clayton Kershaw? Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. The bullpen itself has been absolutely, completely, and totally, entirely elite. Last night, Yency Almonte, he gave up a couple of runs. And so, Alex Vesia, Yency Almonte on back-to-back days, 2 guys who have been just completely wipe out elite. Almonte did not allow an earned run last year after July 3rd. So are you worried about those 2? Is it a situation to where you think that's, hey, baseball is such a difficult game. There's always going to be blips along the radar. But like I said, are you worried about those 2? Okay, Shelby Miller, he looked good. Of course, he only had 1 out that he had to get. And then Brusdar Graterol, he looked good in his 1 inning that he threw. So what do you think about the bullpen? Is it as good as you thought it was going to be coming into this season? What do you think about the starting rotation? Clayton Kershaw's gone 6 in his last 3 innings, and then the boomer bust offense from last night for the Dodgers. What do you think about that? What type of offense do you think the Dodgers need to play to win a World Series? So again, the Dodgers lost 6-3 to Arizona. This is not last year's Arizona team. They have a lot of good young players. Evan Longoria had a good night last night for them. So this is a rejuvenated Arizona team. They are going to be, they're going to have to be dealt with. I'll put it to you that way. Again, I don't know what their final record is going to be on the season. I don't know how many games they're going to win, but I do know, they're 4-4 so far in this season. The Dodgers dropped to 5-3, but I do know they're going to be a lot better. And certainly, whenever you play them, you're going to have to be ready. The Dodgers have seen that already here in 2023. So the Dodgers drop the decision 6-3 to Arizona, and then they play again. Let me see. Let me get my schedule out here. Today is the 6th. So today, the Dodgers, if I can get this up right quick, the Dodgers are, let me move the date here to the next day, and then I will get to the Dodgers. They play Arizona tonight at 8:10 Eastern at Arizona again. So the scheduled starter for Los Angeles is Noah Syndergaard, who was fantastic last night for last time out for the Dodgers. So Noah Syndergaard goes tonight 8:10 Eastern. That would be 7:10 my time, which is Central, which would be 5:10 Pacific. So there you go. Okay, that's my wrap up with the Dodgers. So hey, it's time now. Let's go ahead and talk about the 4 affiliates that were all in action last night. The Oklahoma City Dodgers lost. Tulsa almost got no hit. Great Lakes, they lost in their opener. And then Rancho Cucamonga, they won. Thank goodness they did. So hey, let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it. And let's take a trip down on the farm. You're looking at left-handed pitcher Ronan Kopp. Boy, I tell you what, this dude has a huge future. Of course, we saw that James Outman hit a home run off of Madison Bumgarner last night. The comparisons of Ronan Kopp are to Bumgarner. They are there. They look similar. Their deliveries look similar. So Ronan Kopp, boy, a huge future. He got his 2023 season off to a really good start last night. He struck out 6 in 3 innings. He gave up just 2 hits and 1 run. Kopp has continued just to get better and better since he's joined the Dodgers system. And the thing about him is, he's big, he's long, he has that kind of that whip as far as the delivery, but his secondary pitches are very good too. So this is a skilled young pitcher, and Ronan Kopp, keep an eye on him. He's at Advanced A Great Lakes, and he got off to a great start yesterday. Robbie Peto has been used in just about every single role that you could possibly think of. He's used mostly in what he used, and he threw yesterday, what is known as the piggyback role, that back-to-back starters that the Dodgers like to use. Ronan Kopp comes in and throws bulk innings. Then you bring a starter-type guy in behind him, like Robbie Peto, and the next thing you know, it's already the 7th, 8th, and sometimes the 9th inning. Robbie Peto is just absolutely fantastic in that piggyback role. He's very familiar with it. He's a 4-pitch strike thrower. He has that fastball, curveball, change, and slider, and he can shape his curveball in different ways, which is what I like about him. Based on basically the count and the situation. He can make it smaller if he needs a strike with it. He can make it bigger if he needs a strike out. So very high on Robbie Peto, the young man that out of New Jersey, originally went to Stetson, originally went to North Carolina, then went down to Stetson, had a good career there. He came in behind Ronan Kopp last night, went 4 innings. He gave up just 1 run, 2 hits, had 3 strikeouts, and no walks. So Robbie Peto, good job. Way to start your 2023 season. Christiansuarez, I tell you what, he is very, very, very explosive. You can see right here, he strikes a lot of guys out. The key to him, obviously, is keeping the ball in the strike zone. And I'll tell you what, last night, he did not have any walks, and when he's throwing strikes, when he's putting the ball in the strike zone, he is very, very, very explosive. He struck out the side last night, which shouldn't come as a surprise to Dodgers fans, because last year he had at least 3 strikeouts in 13 of his 37 outings, and he struck out 78 hitters last night in 59.2 innings. So like I said, this left-hander Christiansuarez with that sweeping slider, look at that. That's kind of a backdoor slider there. Then he kind of throws that little cutter/slider pitch in on the hands of righty. on righties. He can locate the slider to different spots of the zone. He can sweep it to the back foot. He can throw it to the back door like you saw right there. Then he can kind of horizontal it out, if you will, and just kind of get it to right in on the hands of a right-hander. So he's ambidextrous. You know those pitches are really good against lefties, but they're equally as effective against right-handers too, because he can shape them in different ways. So Christiansuarez, that's why he strikes out so many guys. But you know, and it's like I said, as long as the ball's in the strike zone, he's very, very, very difficult to hit. Good way to start last night against Suarez. He came in through a scoreless inning, struck out the side, and did not walk a hitter. You were looking at the all-time saves leader in St. Mary's College history. This is Michaelhobbs. He is what I think is the #1 steal of the 2021 draft. He went in the 10th round. This dude is way better than a 10th round. Look at the depth on that slider. He's throwing a slider and a cutter. He has that four-seam up in the zone. Okay, and the thing about him, the bigger the moment is, the better he gets. You know, he loves to have the ball in his hand when it matters the most, as being the all-time saves leader. At St. Mary's, he produced Tony Gonsolin, Chris Campos, who is in the system right now. They've had, you know, great talent, especially pitching there at that California-based university. And Michaelhobbs is the all-time saves leader, so you know he loves to have the ball in his hand. You know, last year he fought injury just a touch. He actually won an 11-pitch at bat early in the season to you know, just kind of show how gritty he is too. Very tough, very gritty, super, super competitive. Love watching this young man. Very talented as well. So Michaelhobbs, his fastball, curveball, slider were on display last night, and boy, he did very well. And like I said, loves to have the ball when it matters the most. Well, it's just absolutely poetic justice that Austingauthier got the first hit of the year for Great Lakes, and it went opposite field. This dude, Austingauthier, is, I don't know if there's anybody better in the game of baseball of taking that ball the other way, like we saw in that video. How about this? His oppo percentage last year was 40%, which was 5% higher than his pull percentage, meaning he hit the ball to the opposite field 5% more last year than he pulled the ball. That's just absolutely incredible. The young man out of Hofstra has learned how to use the opposite field. He's learned how to use the middle of the field, and because of that, you know, he's able to maximize his talent offensively. And I love that style of offense. Just, hey, whatever it takes to hit the center of the ball, let me hit the ball hard. It doesn't matter well, let me go at the pitch, not trying to hit home runs all the time. I love the offensive game of Austingauthier. I love the way that he's been taught how to hit. And look, he's able to cover the top of the zone right there because he's just simply trying to hit the ball hard. He's not trying to hit the ball over the fence. So Austingauthier, he got the first hit for the Great Lakes Loons last night. It was an opposite field hit, and again, he went 40% oppo last year. This is Alexfreeland's first hit in high A. It won't be his last, because this dude is absolutely 100% completely and totally and entirely legit. The young man out of UCF, super, super, super talented shortstop guy who's very good defensively. I got to see him quite a bit in college, and I've seen him, you know, play quite a bit last year. And then when he was with Rancho, got to see him a few times. That's Yainer Fernandez. So Alexfreeland, you got to see his first high A base hit. Then you got to see the first RBI and run scored. So Alexfreeland got his first high A. First high A hit, advanced A hit ever. Then he got to score the first run of the year. So Austingauthier got the first hit of the year for Great Lakes. Then Alexfreeland scored the first run. Yainer Fernandez, who you're going to see here in just a second right here. That's Yainer Fernandez. He got the first RBI on a sac fly. So there you go. Great Lakes, they did not win last night, but I wanted to show you all the firsts that they had for the 2023 season. The AA Tulsa Drillers got blanked last night. They almost got no hit. Thank goodness there was at least one hit in the game, and that came from Yorbit Vivas last night. So thank goodness for Yorbit Vivas, or it would have been a no-hitter for San Antonio. Like I said, hey, you know, you're on a high one day, you're on a low the next, and so you can't get too high, you can't get too low. Who you're looking at right here is Nick Frasso, a young man who has a lightning bolt for a right arm. He's long, he's gangly, he gets down the mound, he has great extension, he is a very uncomfortable at bat, then he has great stuff. Okay, very successful start to the 2023 season for Frasso. He went 4 innings, he threw 65 pitches, which is a big deal because last year in 2022, he was just trying to rebuild a pitch count. So he's trying to have higher pitch counts this year. He got to 65 pitches. That's a big deal for him. Okay, so in those 65 pitches, he threw 47 strikes. He gave up 1 run on 4 hits, and then check this out. He had 6 strikeouts, no walks. So that's the thing about Frasso, his upside. He has the ability to get a lot of swing and miss. He has great secondary. That fastball right there that you see just gets on hitters before they had, way faster than they realize, because there's that little slider pitch that he likes to throw. Because he's so long, the extension is so good, and then he hides the ball. Watch him hide that ball right there, and then that's that up and in ride and run 4-seam. And so you don't pick the ball up out of the hand very well. Then it's like he's handing the ball off to the catcher. Then it's coming close to 100 miles an hour. So Nick Frasso, he came over in the trade for Mitch White. There's that big slider pitch. He has a big, big future. He is the Dodgers' number 10 prospect as far as MLB pipeline goes, and he showed it last night why he is ranked so high. This is Tannerdodson right here, and he's very intriguing because he has hit 100 miles an hour with this fastball in the past. Now, as I've talked about him throughout the years, I've kind of used the analogy of a horse that's not broke yet. And a horse that's not broke yet, he might win the race by a lot because he's faster than everybody else. He's more aggressive. There's absolutely no fear. But he also might end up in Canada. That's kind of Tannerdodson's fastball right now. Hey, when it's in the zone, it's pretty hard to hit because it's pretty close to 100 miles an hour. You can see, the kind of the herky-jerky to his windup. Watch him drop the ball as he separates the drop right there. So that means he's able to hold on to it a little bit longer and get down the mound a little bit more. The more you drop the ball on your release, the longer you're going to have as far as, stretching out and landing that front foot. So your stride's going to be longer. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you drop the more you drop the ball on separation, the longer your stride's going to be. The longer your stride is, the closer you are to home plate, and the less reaction time a hitter has. He has all that going for him. He has a fastball that he can reach 100 miles an hour with. Just got to throw strikes. When he look at that slider, that's a good pitch. When he throws strikes, he's fantastic. He did walk 1 hitter last night, but he threw 16 strikes in 23 pitches, so that was very good for Tannerdodson last night. And he did throw a scoreless inning, and he struck out 2. I was so glad when I heard play-by-play voice the awesome Dennis Higgins, the great Dennis Higgins, on the mic for AA when he mentioned last year Benharris led all the minor leagues in strikeout ratio. He struck out, check this number out, Benharris struck out 45% of the hitters he faced last year. Okay, last night he did even better than that. He got 3 outs and struck out 2. That's 66%. Okay, so you say, well, he's low 90s. All right, it doesn't seem like it's just incredibly, just wicked stuff. So what makes Benharris strike so many guys out? Well, watch. Whenever he releases, watch how it's hidden behind his hip right there. And then what I want you to watch on the next pitch, he does not, the hitter cannot see this ball. He hides it behind his shoulder. He hides it behind his shoulder until he actually delivers it. I'm telling you, the deception as far as not being able to see the ball come out of his hand, the hitters just can't see the ball. He hides the ball. That's why he strikes guys out. Benharris, again, struck out 45% of his hitters last year, the young man. That was a position player early on in college. When he went to Virginia, he transferred to the University of Georgia. Now he's a pitcher only. He loves his Bulldogs. Look at that little slider-type pitch. Good play right there by Yorbit Vivas, who had the only hit last night for Tulsa. So again, Benharris is at it again. He struck out 2 out of the 3 guys last night. He struck out 45% of all the hitters he faced last year. So looking to have another big year for AA Tulsa. The Oklahoma City Dodgers scored 2 in the second, 4 in the fifth, 5 in the seventh, 1 in the ninth, and beat Las Vegas again last night 12-6. And it was a good performance. You're looking at Stevenduggar, who hit his first home run. Duggar, he got the game-winning hit in the top of the ninth on Thursday, and then his next at bat, he hit his first home run of the season. So Stevenduggar playing very well for AAA Oklahoma City. Got them on the board last night and got them home. Got down 5-0. Oklahoma City did, and stormed right back and won this game. Duggar got him on the board with his first home run of 2023. In terms of home runs per at bat, I talk about Ryan Ward quite a bit. I love this young man's offensive hit tool. In terms of home runs per at bat last year, he was in the elite slugger category, so He had a lot of home runs per at bat last year, and on August 7th, he combined that home run per at bat rate with a batting average that was climbing. He was up to 272. He was the Texas League Player of the Week. I talked to him. He felt like, hey, every time he went to the plate, he was better than the pitcher, and then he got hurt. So that was a little bit frustrating. He came back and just never quite got it back the way that he had it going when he went on the IL. Okay, he went back-to-back. You saw Stevenduggar's home run. Ryan Ward went back-to-back with Duggar last night for his first home run of 2023. It will not be his last. I love this young man. I love Ryan Ward's hit tool. I tell you what, it's time to put shortstop Luke Williams on the radar. And when I say that, I mean the LA radar, because this young man, he's playing a fantastic shortstop. He has major league experience. Matter of fact, he has not made an error this year. He had 3 hits and 3 RBIs last night for AAA Oklahoma City, and he's hitting .391 on the year. His OPS is 1226, and like I said, has yet to make an error. This guy, very, very talented. I tell you what, he is making a splash and making a case that, hey, he's going to get up and get some time with LA this year, especially if he keeps playing like this. Of course, I don't think he can probably keep up at .391 average, but who knows? The PCL is a hitter-friendly league. You're playing in places like Vegas and Albuquerque that have elevations that are pretty hitter-friendly ballparks. So, hey, Luke Williams off to a great start. He is just taking the Dodgers system by storm. Good to see Mark Washington go scoreless last night in 1 2/3 inning. A little bit of bounce back for him. Wash was 92-94 in his four-seam. He'll heat that up a little bit more as the season goes on. I think he'll get up around the 95-96, maybe even 97 as the weather warms up. It's been a little bit cool, I do believe, in Las Vegas, and he had the good slider and the good changeup that you've already seen on your screen. So there's that changeup right there. Mark Washington, a good performance last night. The young man out of Lehigh, Glen Mills, Pennsylvania originally, and so very talented. Another one of those 6'7" bodies that gets down the mound very well. Has great extension, so although it was 92-93 last night, but he'll get up to 95, 96, sometimes 97 as the weather warms up, and it's a pitch that looks faster than it actually is because he gets down the mound so well and he cuts down the distance between him and the catcher. So Mark Washington, good to see him last night have a very good performance. Dominant performance for Nick Robertson, just absolutely dominant. Robertson was 94-96. How about that? He's already 94-96 on that four-seam that you saw right there. There's the changeup. Boy, his changeup was really good last night. And so, he has the good changeup. He has the slider. Then he has the 94-96 mile-an-hour fastball and his ball moves. I'll tell you what, every time that he throws, the StatCast data will come out and say he threw like 5 or 6 sinkers, and I have verified with him and the organization, there's that slider. He does not have a sinker. It comes off as a sinker on the StatCast because his ball moves so much. He has so much run to the arm side that sometimes it gets listed as a sinker because of the movement on it. That just goes to show you at that 94-96, it's 94-96 with arm side movement. And again, he's a tall guy, 6'6", so just like Mark Washington, look how he gets down the mound, and it's like he's handing the ball to the catcher, so it looks even faster than that to the hitter. And if you don't believe me, just ask Mookie Betts. He made a comment that the minor league pitching coordinator Rob Hill in the offseason that Nick Robertson, his fastball has some stuff behind it. So Robertson, I'm very high on him. I'm hoping that the Dodgers give him a chance to show what he can do at the major league level, because I know he is talented enough to be a very good major league reliever for many, many years. All right, my daily Drew Avens update, and watch him leg this fairly typical routine single into a double. Look at that. How about that? And didn't even make it close. Last night he got on, he got over, and then he got in, and he had that whole sequence to where it was just awesome to watch, and how he frustrated the pitcher and how he generated a run for his team on Thursday night. Friday night he legs this fairly typical single into a double. So just another example of the type of player that Drew Avens is, the type of game he plays. I love watching this young man play. I love the hustle. I love the complete game of Drew Avens. Good outing for Justin Brule last night as he finished up the game for AAA Oklahoma City, throwing 1 2/3 scoreless innings. He struck out 4, and I'll tell you what, Brule, okay, you know, he has major league innings, and we know that, and the Dodgers can always use help in the bullpen. Every team can always use help in the bullpen, so Justin Brule very motivated to get back up to Los Angeles. He has yet to give up a run in his 3 outings so far this year, and he has 5 strikeouts and no walks going back to spring training. This was his 4th scoreless outing in a row, so Justin Brule knocking on the door of the major leagues. You know he'd love to get back up with Los Angeles, and he's making his case, throwing very well with AAA Oklahoma City. The Rancho Cucamonga Quakes beat Inland Empire to go 2-0 on the early season. They beat them back-to-back nights. 5-3 last night. Rancho scored 1 in the 5th, 3 in the 6th. That was going to be all they needed, but then they did add a run in the 7th to beat Inland Empire 5-3. You're looking at Peter Hubeck. Look at that big curveball. I love showing that curveball, kind of a right-handed version of that Clayton Kershaw, just drop off the table type curveball. And Hubeck, I tell you what, he's, you know, up to 96 miles an hour with the fastball. I love that curveball right there. And he's trying to get over 190 pounds, a young man out of Gilman. He was drafted out of high school, still building his body. Has the big 4-seam up in the zone that can reach 96. He has that big curveball you saw. And then he's working on refining, you know, that big curveball, kind of like Michael Grove. It's tough sometimes to control in the zone, so you want a smaller breaking pitch. So he's added a tighter, smaller slider to his mix this year to become fastball, slider, curveball, and changeup. And his changeup, I'll tell you what, watch his changeup. It is, I don't know if I have one in this video or not, but his changeup is absolutely fantastic. It's a 4-pitch pitcher, Peter Hubeck, going to get a lot of innings for Rancho this year. Again, he was drafted out of high school, so still very young, very talented. He's grown up around some of the greatest players, you know, as far as mentoring goes. He knows what big-time baseball looks like. So very excited about this young man, Peter Hubeck, on the bump for, you know, Rancho. As far as the offense goes, Jesus Galice, Kyle Nevin, Nick Biddison, Dayton Dooney, and Chris Noodle each had hits last night for the Quakes. Kyle Nevin had a triple and an RBI. Jesus Galice had a double and RBI, and Dooney had 2 RBIs in the Quakes' 5-3 win over the Inland Empire. Yoel Ibarra also came in and threw 3 scoreless innings for the Quakes, and the Dodgers like to use the 2 starters where, you know, like 2 different starters pitch, you know, like we saw with Robbie Peto and Ronan Kopp. Peter Hubeck comes in, he throws bulk innings, and Yoel Ibarra comes in behind him. He throws bulk innings as well. The Dodgers love to use that 2-starter mold. So Yoel Ibarra came in behind Peter Hubeck and threw 3 scoreless innings. So Rancho Cucamonga, a big win last night. They won 5-3. They're now 2-0 on the season. So there you have it. There's my recap of the action last night, and the Dodgers system is a little bit of a mixed bag in terms of, hey, Oklahoma City won, Tulsa did not, Great Lakes lost as well, Rancho won, but hey, the big one, always, you want the big club, LA, that's the victory you want. LA did not win last night, so hey, it was a mixed bag, and you know, like I always say, you can't get too high or too low in the game of baseball. It is a marathon, so everybody's they're going to lace the cleats back up on Saturday afternoon today, and they're going to get after it again, and we're going to have a lot of great action in the Dodger system that we'll cover once again for tomorrow's show that I hope you tune into. So, hey, fans, I hope you enjoyed today's show, and I hope that you tune in tomorrow. And I hope also, before we get out of here, one more reminder, if you like this video and if you like this content and if you like this, you know, this kind of stuff that we provide here at Dodgers Daily, go ahead and click that like button, leave a comment, tell all your friends about Dodgers Daily, become a subscriber, and after you subscribe, click that notification bell. Okay, that way every time Dodgers Daily releases a new video, you'll get notified. So turn on those notifications, and we can keep growing, keep providing you videos like this in the future that we love to do. As always, I'd like to thank you for tuning in and say, go Dodgers.